Imagine a world where one small act of kindness from someone overlooked by society sparks a chain of events that no one saw coming. She was just a nurse. Black, soft-spoken, and always the last to be thanked. But when she handed over her childhood doll to a sick little girl, the hospital never expected the dominoes it would tip. The girl was dying. The nurse had nothing to give except love. What she didn't know, that girl was the billionaire CEO's daughter, and what happened next turned her entire life upside down. You won't believe how it ends. So before we dive into this breathtaking story of humility, fate, and justice, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you believe kindness can still change the world. Now buckle up. This is a story you'll never forget. Doll and the diagnosis. In a quiet wing of Meadow Ridge Memorial Hospital, where sunlight barely filtered through the yellowed blinds, Nurse Amara Daniels moved gently between patient rooms. She wasn't the type to draw attention. Mid-30s, natural coils tucked beneath her surgical cap, warm almond eyes that always looked just a little tired, but never unkind. Her presence was calming, almost motherly soothing even the most frightened. Patients, most of her colleagues rushed. She lingered. Especially today. Room 314, the terminal pediatric case. The girl, maybe 7 or 8, pale as porcelain, tubes in her arms, bald from months of chemo. Her name was Alara. She hadn't smiled in weeks. Her father was away on business, and no one ever came to visit except her nanny and doctors. Amara had brought her something. Her own childhood doll, worn but cared for, a dark-skinned ragdoll with stitched braids and a red fabric dress. "Her name's Kira," Amara said softly. Alara blinked slowly and reached out. The nurse placed the doll gently into the girl's arms, and something incredible happened. Ilara's lips trembled and then curved upward. A smile. Her first in weeks, nurses nearby whispered. Doctors scoffed, saying toys didn't cure cancer. But that night, Ilara's vitals stabilized for the first time in 2 months. The CEO in disguise, unbeknownst to the staff. A man had arrived at the hospital shortly after midnight. Tall, impeccably dressed in a charcoal trench coat, collar turned up, a cap pulled low. Elijah Crane, the CEO of the hospital conglomerate that owned Meadow Ridge and 64 other facilities across the U.S. Billionaire. Founder, hard-edged and elusive. No one ever saw him visit any hospital. But tonight was different. Ilara was his daughter. Few knew. He kept her identity hidden to shield her from media attention. He hadn't told even the staff she was his. He watched through the crack of the slightly open door as Ilara cradled the ragdoll, her small fingers holding it like treasure. He noticed the warmth in her eyes. She smiled, the nanny whispered, shocked. Elijah's eyes teared up. He hadn't seen his daughter smile since her mother passed a year ago. And he had watched helplessly as every expensive treatment failed her. Until this nurse, this Amara Daniels, did something no amount of money could do. Elijah ordered the hospital security footage for the past 24 hours. He watched her. How she spoke gently, encouraged Ilara to eat, stayed long past her shift to sing lullabies by the girl's bed. She was unlike any nurse he'd seen. No pretense, just soul. The next day, he summoned the hospital board in secret. "I want to know everything about her," he said. While Elijah investigated Amara quietly, word spread around the hospital that the ragdoll given to that sick girl in 314 had come from the black nurse who still lived in a studio apartment near the city's poorest district. Some doctors sneered. A few staff laughed. "Probably the only toy she ever had," one muttered. Amara overheard. She didn't flinch. She just kept working. But that week, her shift schedule was abruptly changed, cut to nights. Her locker was mysteriously cleared. Her ID card was flagged. Someone didn't like how much attention she was getting. Then came the committee summons and internal hearing alleging overstepping boundaries by bringing unauthorized items into sterile zones. She sat alone at the long table, hands folded, facing 6 stiff suits. Do you deny gifting a personal item to a patient without approval? Amara took a breath. No, I gave her a doll. I didn't think approval was needed for compassion. They scowled. Your employment may be reconsidered. That night, Amara cried in her car. The next morning, she packed her things. But just as she turned in her badge, a man blocked the hospital exit. It was Elijah Crane. Dressed down in jeans and a sweater, he extended his hand. Ms. Daniels, I'm Ilara's father. Her breath caught. And I believe you just saved my daughter's life. Amara stared in stunned silence. Come with me, he said. Please. What followed seemed like a dream. Elijah took Amara to a private estate just outside the city. Ilara was there, doll in hand, hair growing back, laughter in her voice. She asks for you daily, Elijah said, watching his daughter beam. Amara knelt beside her, tears spilling over. Then Elijah did the unthinkable. I've made a decision, he said, handing her an envelope. Inside, an offer letter. Chief. Compassion Officer, it read. A new role one he invented. You'll oversee patient well-being initiatives across all my hospitals. Staff mentorship, emotional care programs, child comfort units. Name your salary. I trust you. Amara was speechless. Why me? Elijah smiled. Because you reminded my daughter how to hope, and me, how to feel. But that wasn't all. Days later, at a press conference announcing the new initiative, Elijah stood beside Amara and Ilara. This woman, he said, voice echoing across the hall, reminded me that healing doesn't always come from science. Sometimes it comes from kindness. This is the heart of our future. Cameras flashed, reporters swarmed. And Amara, once just another nurse in the background, became a national symbol of quiet heroism. Hospitals around the country replicated her programs. Meanwhile, she moved into a lakeside home gifted anonymously. She knew it was him. Elijah visited often. Ilara called her Auntie Amara, and the doll? It stayed by Ilara's side, even through full remission.